So,
What letter is this?
Q.
Q. This is indeed a Q.
All right, welcome to the Patriot Hour. We got Ben in the studio. It's here. It's Thursday.
Thursday, yes, sir. Yeah. Remotely back in the studio again for some more Patriot Hour.
Yes, Thursday, November 15th, folks. We just going to go over some different breaking news articles. I don't think we got any new Q. We'll check. And we're going to do a two-part here. This is going to be like an hour long. We're going to run for about 25 minutes or so, and we'll shut her down. And then we're going to do a part two. It's going to be a garage talk that we've always talked about. We're actually going to beam in remotely with our phones and just go over how we sometimes come up with some of our shows prior to doing them, the brainstorming, and you guys can check that out. We're gonna record that. We're gonna put it to the Patreon right away, and we'll release it on here as a premiere probably 24 hours from now. So it'll be like tomorrow morning. But you can go check that out on the Patreon right away. It's just a way to support the people over there that have been supporting us. I've had a Patreon, the channel here. We set one up early on, I think. Right, Ben? I mean, early on, as much as we set up the YouTube, I think we got the Patreon. And we haven't done much over there, but I think people realize it's a way to support the Patriot Hour. Even though we don't do much there, we do what we do overall, and they support us. So, and I'll show you guys. Let me get logged in here.
You know, it's just another way to support the Patriot Hour team and, you know, what's happening with the Patriot Hour. And so, we're kind of getting geared up. It's getting colder outside, so, you know, it's always a good thing. Stay warm, depending on what part of the country you're from.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, no, like we said, we talk about garage talk a lot. That's just basically where its whole Patriot Hour started from. Mike and I, you know, doing garage talk, you know, bouncing ideas and things off one another. And
well, they've heard us over the, I think, months. You know, even like Scott, like, let's go do some garage talk, or you when we've done shit. Yes. So what is the background of garage talk?
You know, it's well, when we make phone calls and we'll talk to one another, or we're in the, you know, that's kind of our brainstorming, research and development type time where we're bouncing ideas and seeing if they stick. And there's kind of no rules. We're just kind of we talk about everything. It's not as refined and as researched as a Patriot Hour. That is our time. So it's in our garages. It's not as you know, well put together. It's probably a little bit more rougher, but you know, that's how we're talking about things. Would you hear this? What do you think about that? I don't know. What do you think about that? And that's kind of where it gets a little bit more. Sometimes the conversations can be a little more interesting in the garage talk because they're not as refined. But again, that's where we can talk about things that, you know, if they stick, they stick, and they don't. And, you know, doing that for a while, we're like, you know, we need to do a show. We need to start putting this either a radio. So. Nice.
All right. So here's the funny thing. I was just telling Ben, I got a screenshot of it, but we had another person add. But here we go. 17 patrons. 17 equals Q.
Q.
But yeah, folks. So out of the 17 people, we're getting $119 a month. It's awesome. It's great.
Super awesome.
Told you we're trying to do this full time, and just everything helps. So this is a way. Now we can put videos up on here. I've put some links over the months. It's always been just to the YouTube. One time I've put out something special here, or special, just something that wasn't put up on YouTube. And that is the point, sometimes to make things available just for your patrons. So I think that's what we were going to do. We would never put Q posts behind this and, you have to pay a little bit, you know. I mean, you can give as little as $1 a month. That's, what some people do, and that's fine. So this is just a great way. But yeah, I think we're going to put out what we talked about, the part 2 of this right away to be on the Patreon. And I think we're going to release it just to the people that are the 17 people. and then it'll be on here tomorrow. So like we said, you'll still be able to get it. Just watching and sharing our videos is another way to support. We've said it from the
Yes,
beginning.
of course.
There's multiple ways to support. Do what you can. We're at bottom minimal. We're just happy that you watch them
Yes.
and possibly pass on that information with other loved ones, family, friends, coworkers, etc., so on. So, all right, in the news, Michael Avenatti of Avenatti and Avenatti got arrested in LA on domestic violence charges. How does that strike you when you first heard that, Ben?
Well, I believe he has been accused of domestic violence. So I wonder how this is another table, right? So now
Yeah,
he's trying to defend himself against somebody who accused him of, I guess, beating her up, accosting her. I can go so far as to say.
They were saying that was the big kicker, that this guy, that he, oh wow, how the shoe is on the other foot now. He's in a thing where, we can't rush to just blame me, and that's everything they've been doing to other people. Now I don't know. I've read a few of the different stories. I've read one where he immediately first came out and was like, "Oh, she hit me first," and I don't know if that was a true article or not, but now he did make a releasement video the minute he got out of the police station in LA. He was like, that was behind him. It said LA County, and he's like, I just first off would like to thank the good, hardworking men and women of the LA County Police Department for doing their job, and like going off the information that they received because they did their job. I was not fondled, mishandled in any way, shape, or form.
They were of the utmost of professionalism and truthful the whole entire time. It's interesting. I mean, I know it's petty to say this, and of course, we're not trying to be petty. And it's the whole what goes around comes around. But it is very interesting that in such a short period of time, the very person who's been the mouthpiece for all of these individuals talking their disco jive and saying, "Oh, there needs to be put a foundation of something to where if they allegedly say something, then we have to give them credit due." And then in this whole entire crazy process, now he's getting through it. So he's kind of, I've called the Kavanaugh syndrome. He's going through.
Well, he is, just to be fair, folks, he is denied all the allegations, of course. He came out also with pleasing and cheering on the LAPD for doing their due diligence. He also took the opportunity to, of course, deny all allegations. He's never hit a woman, and he never would. And I think the story's going that it's like his ex-wife, who he separated from right before he took on the whole Stormy thing. So I'm sure he had to bring that up, like, honey, we're going to be representing this porn star, and she's accusing the president of the United States. Are you serious? I don't want no involvement in this. I don't want the publicity. It's going to be bad. And he decided to go forward, and she decided to bail out, and that's when their divorce, he filed. He went on to do what he's doing. And then she comes back to get stuff or something, and this altercation happens. Whether it was...
Yeah, and again, it's all at this point. It's all alleged. We don't have the facts. It's a he said, she said. I mean, even in Garage Talk, we were, and of course, this is no joking matter. If that really happened, somebody did get assaulted. Well, then justice needs to be served and to the letter of the law. But it's almost thinking as how these people operate. It's almost like she comes to the front door, like you were saying, and she's got those big old huge moon sunglasses on. He's like, I'm done. We're done with this. And, okay. And she takes him off. She's got big old black eye. And he's like, what happened to you? And you're like, yeah, you did this. You can see how subversive. But I mean,
that's what we said, even if that's the worst case, we just want to make up a story here. But if you go down that road, folks, maybe she came over, had the really big sunglasses that cover half her face, and she's talking to him about money, and he's got a lot of money now. He's been on CNN 480 times in 6 months. and she needs a little bit more. There wasn't a fair deal when they split, based off what he had then compared to now. Who knows? And no, you're not
just
getting
think it's
nothing.
interesting.
You and your
Yeah,
new boyfriend will get nothing from me. I've worked for all of everything I got. And then she takes off the glasses, and he's like, "Whoa, who worked you over?" Well, you did.
What?
That could be a scenario, and that would be horrible to do. But if that happened to
This
him,
is
that'd be really horrible.
Yeah, no, I agree. But it's unfortunately, this is their playbook.
This is
So it's like,
yeah,
how
they
can you
don't-
get upset
This is the kind
when
of stuff
somebody
they've been
does-
doing. Maybe somebody got put her up to doing something like he's been doing to people, lying, and he
Maybe
don't like
she
it
has
too
a
much.
GoFundMe account.
Yeah. So this guy's supposed to be running. He already announced his 2020 run. He was going to be jumping in. And this could have been, again, Hillary taking strikes upon people. Like, I don't want this guy to run, so we're going to do this. And this seems like something out of their playbook. Let's send the incoming missile to this guy, take him out slow or fast and now, and take him right out of the race. Then
Yeah,
again, this
no,
could boost his presidential run. Now he's probably got full support of the Democratic Party, and he is free to run for any office in any state, and they're going to have his full support.
Yeah, it's hypothetically, yeah. Who knows? I mean, that's very interesting. Even though Crooked Hillary's, she's going to be running for 2020, version 4.0. So it's a lot of weird individuals who are either rerunning or trying to step on the scene. And of course, we know every
Well, how do you
presidential
run if you're
election.
incarcerated?
How do you run for president when you're, being investigated? Yeah, but again, every presidency, you get a couple of hundred people who run for president, and it gets boiled down to those who can basically get the most money, so they can get the most campaigning. Usually ends up to being two people. So we'll see. Obviously, Mike and I can go run for president. We don't have hardly any money. We're not the most well-off veterans, but we could still run. Probably wouldn't get anywhere.
Yeah.
So remember, a lot of this could be just a matter of dog and pony, all bark and no bite. Again, we've seen the leftists and really just these non-constitutionalists is where really should be more accurate description, and their playbook and how they're doing it. And the reason why we've seen it is because they've been doing it for years. So when we see this behavior, it's like, oh, I'm recognizing that. That happens all the time on the other side.
Oh, yeah. So did it end up being 53? Sinema wins Arizona race. 53-47 means for possible Supreme Court.
I don't know. I mean, what, Arizona and then Florida? Was it today? Was the deadline for it to be in, or was that yesterday?
Or is that one still hanging out there?
The
in
extension.
Florida?
I think there was like a. It's hard to say. I mean, as I know, there's a couple of them. I know something to do with Senator Flake. He's pretty upset for the Arizona issue going on in there right now. So we'll see if he stays.
That's
or
a
goes,
Republican that left, and then a Democrat won the seat now. Yeah.
And then now so that's going to be interesting in Arizona. And to Florida still.
Well, Arizona's done. I think unless
they're done. Okay.
looking at something again. But I think, yeah. Text shows Stone friend discussing WikiLeaks. It's pretty much exactly what Stone said the whole time. I was reading this. I don't know about this exact article, but I was reading. So 6 days before WikiLeaks began releasing Hillary Clinton campaign chairman John Podesta's emails, Roger Stone had texted a conversation with a friend about WikiLeaks, according to copies of the phone records obtained exclusively by NBC News. Big News Wednesday, the Stone pal, radio host Randy Credeco, wrote on October 1st of 2016, according to the text messages provided by Stone. Now pretend you don't know me. You died 5 years ago, Stone replied. Great, Credeco wrote back. Hillary's campaign will die this week. Credeco turned out to be wrong on one count. Nothing incriminating about Hillary Clinton came out that Wednesday. But 2 days later, on October 7th, WikiLeaks released its first dump of emails stolen from Podesta, altering the trajectory of the 2016 altering. How do they know? Of the 2016, Stone, a confidant then of candidate Donald Trump and notorious political trickster, has denied having any advanced knowledge of WikiLeaks' plans to release hacked messages that could be damaging to Clinton's presidential bid. But the text messages provided by Stone to NBC show that Credico appeared to be providing regular updates to Stone on WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange plans in the days before the hacked emails were released. So that's what they're pitching on. But honestly, it was wrong. I mean, it says that's what he said. Where's the smoking gun? Stone asked. There's absolutely nothing there that I had any knowledge of anything that Assange was going to do, because I didn't. This guy told him something's going to be released this tomorrow on Wednesday, and it didn't. Nothing came on Wednesday. And then it's like, well, 2 days later, something came. That's.
And again,
wrong.
This is, obviously this is a, MSN. This is mainstream media that we're reading to you right now, and some of it, could be true. Most of it is probably not true, but you just stop to think about what they're saying, the narrative they're trying to get across to us.
Well, I was reading. I think Roger Stone himself provided these to NBC to get his version out. So the text provided to NBC News demonstrate that my client, Roger Stone, has been consistent for the past 2 years in his assertion that Randy Credico was the person who was providing him with limited information Mr. Stone had been regarding to WikiLeaks, his lawyer Smith said. Special counsel Robert Mueller has been investigating whether Stone had any advanced knowledge of WikiLeaks' plans to publish Podesta's emails, according to people familiar with the investigation. So what I'm saying is, if they're so worried about pre-knowledge and during did somebody release Podesta's emails and that hindered Hillary's chances of winning? What about Hillary and Podesta and the DNC cheating Bernie and then working to get the dossier and trying to hurt Trump? Doesn't it work that way too? Is it just this way? This is all we're hearing about is the stuff around Trump and how, that's what they're investigating. Wouldn't it be the whole election, not just an facet of it?
This is a kind of a biased article. However, we understand that insider trading is illegal if you know about something that the public does not and you act upon it. So if this particular article is suggesting that they're pissed off, or could be that this particular individual had prior knowledge to the WikiLeaks drops, then he would have prior knowledge to a crime that was committed, because WikiLeaks, even though I believe personally it was a good thing for us to get the information, they were illegally obtained and illegally disseminated. However you want to, champion that for the WikiLeaks, like I said, it's good information and I'm glad we got it. However, it was done in a criminal fashion, and that's where a lot of people are in uproar about. And, and that's could be understandable, because it's okay to do that and not.
Go ahead and read this one here.
No decision yet in Florida. Suit over mismatched ballot signatures. The federal court hearing in Florida on whether the count thousands of rejected mail-in and provisional ballots concluded on Wednesday after more than 5 hours without a decision from Judge Mark Walker. Florida law requires signatures on vote by mail and provisional ballots match the signatures on file for each voter. Attorneys for the Democratic Senator Bill Nelson's re-election campaign argued Florida's signature match rules violate the U.S. Constitution and called for the judge to invalidate the law. Lawyers representing the state of Florida, a National Republican Senatorial Committee, along with others, argued that the law was valid and constitutional. Walker did not rule from the bench on Wednesday and gave no timeline for the ruling. Interesting. But he engaged in all parties in an extensive question-and-answer session, using lively language and hypotheticals to attempt to puncture each side's argument. At times, he appeared skeptical of the arguments on both sides. Let's read down here. Time is, however, of the essence, given Thursday deadline for the state election officials to finish the machine counts. of 3 statewide races, including Nelson's bid for re-election against Florida's Republican Governor Rick Scott, and the final November 20th certification of all election results.
So we got till.
So we still got 5 more days. Okay.
Yeah.
So
We're
it's
looking at
like
Tuesday of next week.
Okay, so that
All
pretty
right.
much answered that one right there.
That's a good one. That's CNN, by the way. But
know.
I think we're getting what we can to you, folks.
Yeah.
Florida voters have until Saturday to correct the issues. So federal judge gives Florida, this is 1 hour ago, federal judge gives Florida voters until Saturday to correct signature problems rallying close to this close race. It looks like this guy here is drinking milk or got some isopropyl alcohol here, trying to correct the issue. Tallahassee, Florida historic recount was thrown once more into a uncertainty Thursday when a federal judge ruled that the voters whose mail-in and provisional ballots were rejected because of issues with their signatures will have 2 more days to resolve the problems and possibly have their votes counted. The decision by Judge Mark Walker of the U.S. District Court, I thought they just said he didn't do anything. So the decision by Judge of U.S. District Court in Tallahassee came just hours ahead of the Thursday afternoon deadline for elections. So that's supposed to be today. Officials to complete a machine recount. It is particularly notable that in the too close to call Senate race in which Governor Rick Scott, Republican, leads Senator Bill Nelson, Democrat, by fewer than 13,000 votes. Walker's decision affects Floridians who cast their ballots by mail or voted provisionally, but whose signatures did not match records maintained by state officials. More than 4,000 ballots across 45 counties in Florida were set aside because of the inconsistent signatures, he wrote in his opinion. In the other 22 counties, the number is unknown.
Wow.
So it's good enough.
Wow. So according to this article, you're talking out of 20 counties, 4,000 are uncounted. How many? Well, the signatures don't match. That could be hundreds of I wouldn't say hundreds of thousands, but maybe tens of thousands worth of votes that weren't counted, all because the signature wasn't quite right. I mean, there's some states who are trying to have illegals vote, and now they're hampering up our citizens because they didn't sign for it, but everything else matched, which is interesting.
What's this one say here?
Judge rules some absentee ballots must be counted in Georgia gubernatorial election. Let's say election or global.
So there was this guy won. This is a lady that lost. She was kind of pitching at the last minute about, you're going to have to give up your guns. And she's real mad she didn't win.
Yeah, he ruled on Wednesday. Ruling by the U.S. District Judge Steve Jones came hours after Republican Brian Kemp claimed to have an insurmountable lead over the Democrat Stacey Abrams, who was seeking to become the first black woman elected governor in the U.S. Jones ruled that each county's certified vote tally must include absentee ballots on which the voter's date of birth is missing or incorrect, and other that stems from the request in a lawsuit filed by Abrams' campaign over the weekend.
I don't know why news articles or any of them try to promote these things right here.
That's a
really dumb reason, and it could be historic, it can be all that, whatever, but that would just be after the fact. You don't run on that well, why should we vote for you, Stacey? Well, I'm kind of seeking to become the first black woman elected governor. All right, and everyone cheers for just that. That alone is all it takes.
So you see people that when we go through
promotes
this stuff,
racism, that promotes everything we still have going on in this country, folks. If you just vote for whoever is the most, qualified, and then whatever it ends up being, well, that'll always be a white man. I don't believe so. You don't. It's like, yeah, but what she's talking about is doing this, that, and that. It's all illegal and bad. Well, I don't know. She's still going to be the first black woman, so I voted for her. But did you hear what she was saying? No, I didn't. I don't know.
Ignorant voting. No, I agree with you. That whole statement right there, you can see when we read these articles to you guys, We know this is the mainstream media. We know that this is fake news. There are some nuggets of truth inside there, like when is the day? Oh, it's the 20th. Okay, that's kind of
Like
that's not
Hillary.
shillish,
Be the first woman in office. And it's just like, that's a
Exactly.
good reason, huh? Wow. I mean, not that it's just not something you'd want to vote on. It's like, vote
That's
for
not
me
a
for president because I wear this shirt. What does that
that's not
shirt
a
have to do
yeah.
with anything?
That's not
It's
relevant
not
to the
gonna.
situation at hand. I don't care if he's black, white, yellow, green, or red. Can he do the
Yes.
job? And that's what the importance of. And this is the narrative. And we'll still look at these fake news articles and we'll still go over them because there is information in there.
Go ahead
If
and
you
give him a
can,
good closer on this here because we're at the
all right, yeah,
27th.
yeah. And so I mean, we always say if you have the eyes to see, you'll see. If you have the ears to hear, you'll hear it. And so we're getting the information out to you guys, but when stuff like that is so blatant in your face, Mike and I just can't help to stop and like, look, you see this? That has no relevance to the actual situation at hand. So you can see where they have that's the mainstream narrative getting ever so slightly injected into what you think is going to be the truth. And Mike and I again stand and say we're here to do our best to seek out the truth, to research what we can and how we can as much time and put into it, and not bring you guys something that's like, oh, this article, we read the whole thing. And so I think today's another classic example of what you're seeing of semantics, word porn, and a little bit of their own agenda being injected into these articles. And most individuals would never catch that and be like, oh, interesting.
Yeah, I agree. All right, we're going to shut this one down, get it out. Again, if you're still here at the very end of this, like we said in the beginning, we're going to do a part 2. It's going to be a garage talk. It's going to be a little different ambiance, background for
Flow,
us, something
format,
different
yeah.
for you guys. That will most likely, we're going to premiere it for sure, whether it's going to be 5 or 6 o'clock tonight or tomorrow morning. Might be later tonight on the YouTube, but we'll make that decision when we get done. Other than that, it's going to be on the Patreon right away, so go check that out. The Patreon, the Patriot Hour on the Patreon. Links down below, folks, in the description box. Leave some comments. Please subscribe, like, share, ring the bell, toggle the switch, work with you and your device in the best possible manner. I'm Michael. This is Ben. Patriot Hour. God bless, Godspeed, each and every one of you worldwide. We'll see you back here real soon on the next Patriot Hour Garage Talk episode.
God bless you all.
You know what letter that is, Goldman?
I think so.
What letter is this?
Q.
Q.